Hello, everyone, and welcome to Medford Happenings, a show for and about the city of Medford, and I am John Petrella. And the purpose of your program is to give Medford citizens facts and information to help you make informed choices and also to discover city services or businesses you may not have been aware of. And we have a special guest today, and his name is Will Mbah. He is a candidate for state representative in the 34th Middlesex District. Big hello and a big welcome to you, Will. We really appreciate, we know how busy you are, your campaign, but thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you, John, for having me, and thank
Okay.
you for the opportunity.
We're going to get right into it, Will. We start our shows the same way with everyone. So basically, can you tell us, a little bit about yourself? Who's Will Mbah?
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
I can go like for an entire day to talk about who I am, but since this is only 40 minutes, I just want to say I'm an immigrant, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a public school parent, and someone who believes deeply, in the promise of government when government works for everybody. So I came to this country from Cameroon after winning the lottery. It's a green card lottery, John. And sometimes when people hear that, they think I scratch a ticket. It's just like the diversity visa lottery, and it's 1 in 100,000 people.
Wow, yeah.
And when I came to this country in 2010, never, did I imagine that someday I'll be entrusted with the responsibility of representing my community in elected office. I built a life here, eventually had the privilege of serving, the city of Somerville as a city councilor at large. This is my 4th term on the city council. And for more than a decade, I've worked on housing, transportation, climate, workers' rights, public safety, municipal budgets. And I'm running for state representative because the challenges we are dealing with in Somerville and Medford, like housing costs, affordability, transportation, and the rising cost of living, don't just stop at the city line. So at the high level, that is, like who I am. I grew up as an orphan. And for those who don't know Cameroon, it geographically it's in the west of Africa, but politically it's in the center. So I know sometimes, I used to just assume that people know where Cameroon is, but I've heard somebody ask me if it was in the Pacific or something. So I just want
No kidding.
to context that.
Wow.
Just for the context.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
thank you, John.
All right, so it sounds like you got a lot of experience. I mean, what is it about your experience you think that's prepared you to be an effective state representative? And I like the fact that one of the first things you said was you represent all the people. I think that's great. You don't hear that often enough, so that's a good thing. So I'm sorry, why don't you just answer?
Yeah.
What do you think? What is it that's made you prepared?
Yes. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
I think I always say that my biggest advantage is that, I bring, experience in city government, and also my lived experience. So there's all these different components. I have already near, almost a decade of governing. Somebody who has actually translated ideas into policies and actually govern on those policies. So when you talk about city council, we like we have decided on how our city can spend $380 million budget. You balance competing priorities, and how do you do that? You listen to residents, negotiate with your colleagues, and then be accountable for the results as well. So let's say example of legislation and policies that I actually personally work on. I helped create the Office of Housing Stability, help create the Somerville Community Land Trust, and also sat on the Affordable Housing Trust, which appropriates funds to this entity, work on wage theft ordinance, tree protection, safe street, bicycle infrastructure, climate and environmental policies, senior issues, sanctuary cities, welcoming policies. So these are like affordable housing and zoning reforms. So the state representative's job is different, John, but
Right.
the fundamental skills are the same. So you have to listen to people, you have to build coalition, and you have to understand the details, negotiate, and then deliver.
Right, and sounds like you got an extreme uh, experience, working in Somerville. Okay, so that's been established. Obviously, you're a great candidate for the job. How do you feel uh, the state legislature operates overall? Do you see a need, to reform or have reform at the legislature to be more open, transparent, and, accountable to the people they represent?
Of course, John, of course, because I believe that people deserve to understand how decisions are made in their name because
Yep, yep,
represent so
yep,
so that is fundamentally, and I also want to be very clear, John.
yep.
Transparency isn't an attack on government. It is how we build trust in government. So I support more meaningful opportunities for legislators to debate legislation. Greater transparency around committee votes. This is what we do on the city council. So in the state, it's even much more complex. So this is where, public access to amendments and legislative negotiations. Like you have to better, disclose of lobbying and procurement influence because that alone builds stronger accountability with your constituents.
Right,
And on the city council, John, residents can come to public hearing, they can testify, they can watch the debate, they can see how the elected officials vote. So I believe we should bring more, of that culture, of transparency to Beacon Hill because it's just this is how government should work.
right. No, and I agree with you 100%, but as we know, it doesn't seem to happen that much at the State House. That's a great answer. So, following up on that now, do you support open floor votes on legislation? Let's be honest, the way things are now, some of the outcomes, are a little bit predetermined by leadership
Mm.
before they even do anything. So, how do you feel about that? I mean, open floor votes and,
No, I think, open floor vote should be, a no-brainer because I believe legislators should have the ability to debate legislation and vote according to the interests of their constituents. That is why, John, again, you see, it's like the only thing I have, I just swept the entire city council election last fall. Top, top vote getter in the city in almost every ward and every precinct. So because of that integrity-based leadership that I have, governed with for nearly a decade. So leadership has, an important role in organizing the legislature and also building consensus. But leadership should not become a substitute for deliberation. And when we talk about consensus, it should be built through persuasion, not simply assumed through the leadership structure. You see what I mean?
right, I understand. Yeah,
And
that's
so,
great. Yeah.
yeah, so and the way I say it, it's like so if I'm elected, my constituents should know where I stand and why I voted the way I did.
I love that. That's the way it should be. Unfortunately, at the State House right now, we don't have that, but it's the way it should be. I couldn't agree with you more as far as that goes. And I'm going to just go back to one thing. You did top the ticket in Somerville, correct?
Yes, I
So,
did.
I got to ask you, I mean, topping the ticket's a great thing, Will. I mean, that's something to be, proud and I mean, How did you manage to do that? I mean, that's great.
I mean, John, I would say it is a trust, in the community. I built that trust. It did not come, like people got to know you,
Right,
you got to really show that you do care because you cannot make this thing up. It's
right,
like you have to be there, you have to represent the people. And so every day I go to bed, I try, like to think about like when I'm sitting in the horseshoe, whatever decision I make, how I'm processing, my thinking is that this decision, this vote that I'm taking, how will it affect the least person that has no clue where City Hall is, you know? Because that is the role of government. Like you're always there. And so people have seen that. And even when I top the ticket, I always say, that victory doesn't belong to me. It belongs back to the people who have entrusted me.
I
So,
love that. No, and that's the truth. I mean, not many. I don't want to use the term politicians too much, but not many of them think the way you think, and that really uh, separates you from a lot of what's going on today. And I think that's great. And I think that's a great thing for you. And it's coming from your heart. People are going to see that and they're going to know it. You mean it. You
mm,
don't just talk, you walk the walk. And I think that's great.
thank
Um,
Thank you, John.
you
And I
know,
try, and if you look at even my endorsement, it's like you can see that cross
yes,
street. There's all like there's everybody like I will engage with you because you matter. As long as you live in the city, you pay tax, you matter to me. If it doesn't. That's my philosophy. If you live in space, then it's a whole nother problem.
right.
Can
Yep.
get on like
Yeah,
some states flight to come talk about issues that are happening in the
right.
neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. All right, so we got to get back to the questions now.
Sure.
You know, do you support requiring, I mean, there's a lot of lobbying activities that go on at the State House, procurement-based activities. I mean, should everything be reported and available to the public? Because it doesn't seem like it is right now. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I mean, John, most of the questions you're asking, it's like so fundamental.
It
So
is, yeah.
yes, I think, uh, lobbying activities, including procurement related activities, should be publicly reported. Because if someone is trying to influence a government decision, John,
Right.
the
Yep,
public should be able to know who is influencing, what they are advocating for and who is ultimately benefiting. So, and I've been on the other side of those conversations as a municipal official. So transparency protects both the public and the elected officials. So it makes it easier to distinguish legitimate advocacy from influence that happens behind
right.
closed doors.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see what I
No,
mean?
yeah, I see 100%. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense.
And so
Yeah,
for me, John, for me, lobbying is a legitimate part of our democratic
yes,
process.
it is. Yep, I
The
agree.
problem is when the public can't see the full picture.
Yes, yeah, yeah. They're not getting the whole picture is what's
Yes, so
happening. Yeah,
that's the issue.
yeah. And that's a big issue, big issue. And I know you'll do something about it. At least you'll, put the effort in. All right, so, you know, something that's really affecting everyone, and it's a tough subject, and there's a lot going on with it, and you hear about it constantly, and um, it seems like everyone has their own way of doing this, whatever. But what's your opinion? I mean, affordable housing. It's tough. I mean, it's a tough thing to solve. It's very important, but how do you feel? I mean, what do you do about affordable housing?
I would say, affordable housing is not an abstract issue for me because I have experienced housing instability, John.
Yep.
I
Okay.
moved 5 times in 6 years.
Wow.
So I understand what it means for housing costs to determine what your family can and cannot afford. So this is an issue that's, near and dear to me. And I have to say, I was part of the wave, like Bernie Sanders actually came to Somerville, believe it or not. So I
Right,
came to the city council, like I was one of five, city councilors. So, and yes, we ran on, like affordability because development was also like really rampant in the city. And I actually told myself that when I moved out of the city, which I was actually displaced, I moved to High Park and then came back. But I said, if I really move permanently, and then I'm one less thing for those in government to worry about me. So I made
right,
that conscious decision to come back. So, 2 years after I became a U.S. citizen, because I became a U.S. citizen in 2015, 2017, and then I ran for city council and won that seat. So, and on the council, I helped create the Office of Housing Stability, and in which I mentioned in the beginning. And this
right.
office, its primary role is to help, like tenants, against eviction in displaced,
Yep,
and
yep,
then also help also create the Somerville Community Land Trust, also which you take properties and restrict it and build affordable housing in perpetuity. So this is like, and then I've also helped increase. So that way, we are supporting increase in housing production while also protecting tenants.
right.
To make
Yep,
sure that development actually creates homes that working people can afford. So my priorities have always been, very clear, that we need to build more housing, we need to build affordable housing, we need to preserve existing affordable housing, strengthen tenant protection because we cannot mix the two. Like we cannot separate both.
yep,
You
okay.
know, and then
Yep,
we need to build housing near transit as well. So we need to support any municipality willing to increase housing production. And then, of course, one of the place for building wealth is that we need to make home ownership attainable for working families. You know, so we cannot solve affordability crisis by building luxury apartment, but we can, we also cannot solve it by refusing to build. You see what I
no,
mean, John?
no, yeah, yep, yep,
So we need a comprehensive strategy that increases supply, protects tenants, and
right.
dramatically expands permanently affordable housing.
And that's gonna be the key, I think, is getting people to come in and build the affordable housing. And it just seems like there's so much red tape and everything else around it. You see a lot of these luxury buildings go up all over the place, and I'm not going to give you my opinion on anything, but it just seems like everything that's going on. I mean, a lot of the things. I think the key is the building affordable houses that people can actually afford. And I always, my mind always says it can be done, and I don't know why we can't do it.
No,
Well,
no, it's the political will too, because a lot of time, John, people say that they want something, and then when it now comes, I don't know, like it's like really interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. Say, oh, I want this, I want that, and yet, but it should go somewhere else.
right? No, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Will, exactly. Um, you know, a lot of people now, another thing that keeps coming up is term limits. And when I use the term, when we say term limits, most people are talking about for the speaker, the majority leader, and all the Senate committee chairs. It just seems like it's the same over and over and over and over and over. And what do you feel about term limits for the speaker, majority leader,
Mm,
committee chairs?
mm.
It just seems like the same people are there constantly, and they
Mm.
just here's what we're doing, and that's the way it's going to go. And I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, 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 no. You're spot on. You're spot on, John. And I don't believe in just, having like some. I'm not like someone who just. I'm open to conversation. These are all healthy conversation that should be had.
Yes.
open to term limits for legislative leadership positions because you and I know, John, concentrated power can become unhealthy for any
Yeah.
institution.
Ab-
So at the same time, I also want, to make sure that reforms actually improve the institution, rather than simply changing who holds a particular title. So for me, the fundamental question is whether rank and file legislators have a meaningful voice and whether constituents have a transparent view of the process. You see what I mean?
Yep,
I
I
would,
hear
I-
you.
yeah, so I all is just to say I will support reasonable limits on leadership tenure and reforms that distribute power more broadly, particularly around committee assignments, hearings, amendments, and floor votes.
That's all, that's good to hear because, it just seems like, and I think one of the things most people talk about, up at the State House and Beacon, whatever, Beacon Hill, whatever terms we use. It just seems like, and we need change up there. That's my opinion. I usually don't give my opinion, but it's like we need change. We need people to get in there and actually, make these changes or are willing to make these changes. And I think you're the kind of guy, my opinion, again, is that's going to do this. I mean,
I'm trying, John.
no,
I'm gonna make every effort to make a difference. That's all. You want to see progress. You don't want to be, the kind of person that for me, it's about making progress and then be accountable back to your district.
right,
That's fundamental so that people see. That is why everybody, like the people who have been with me, who have been supporting me for nearly a decade, they don't need to figure me out. You know, the people who don't know me can get up someday and say, "Oh, like what? Will seems like a nice guy. What does he stand for?" I stand for community because I came from the community.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know where you came from. And you care about where you came from, and you're not going to forget where you came from.
No,
And that's pretty obvious. It really is, Will. That's how you come across. And
thank you, thank you, John.
that's a compliment. So that's a big compliment because
Thank you.
that is how you come across, like you really do care. And I like that. And it does. It takes a lot of work. Nothing happens overnight, but you gotta, sort of persevere, I guess. Um, so here's another question, and I hate to say it, Will, but this is sort of like affects me. I never admit this, but I'm a senior citizen now.
Mm,
So, you know, I see a lot going around, a lot of things going on, Medford, Somerville, everywhere with senior citizens.
mm,
Um, it seems like, my parents, their generation in this state, cities, whatever, there was stability there. They always had stability. It just seems like um, it's not there anymore. Like a
mm,
lot of seniors, they all worked hard, they did what they had to do. But it's expensive to live right now for whatever reason. And
mm,
it just seems like in my opinion, we're not getting enough done for seniors. It seems like a lot more of them are struggling to get by. They've been in the same house, for 40 years. The taxes everything keeps going up.
mm,
The only thing that doesn't go up is the pay. They're on the Social Security, their pension. You don't get increases anymore, is what I'm trying to say. So you're retired, you worked very hard, and I know a lot of them went back to work part-time. So
mm.
I mean, this is a tough one, but is there anything that can be done
Wow.
to maybe bring some stability to the older folks?
Wow. Uh, John, no, this is really something also that it's a very important question when you even mentioned that you're a senior. Like you look like 25. I'm like, is he
Yeah, yeah,
senior?
okay.
I'm like, is he trying to get a senior discount or something? No, but John, I have to say, when seniors tell us that they are worried about whether they can afford to stay in the community where they raise their families,
Right.
that's a failure we need to address. That's point blank. You don't need to. There's no. This is not subject for debate.
Okay.
And like and there are various ways that we need to look at how the seniors need support. I mean, we've done some work in the city, but I would just scale up the conversation because you really asked about like how we can actually, help seniors. We can help them, through housing, utilities, healthcare and transportation. I think this is how we've really attacked these issues, in the city. And this is at the state level is going to be really big because for housing, senior affordable housing is something that we got to focus on. Property tax relief. This is something that we need to look into programs that allow seniors to age in place, and protect them from displacement. That is the housing piece that we need to because sometimes it's very easy to mix all these things together. For utilities, we make sure that how do we support seniors lower their energy costs, like kind of like change their housing like what like this weatherization, like kind of like create this energy efficient buildings so
Right.
that because most of the buildings are all old, like
Right.
make sure it's
Yeah.
energy efficient, and that way, once you're assisting them with utility bills, it's pretty clear that you've done the things that you needed to do. And then it can protect access to healthcare and prescription drugs. You hear that all the time.
Yes. Constantly. Yeah. Yeah.
So this and then some seniors also like the home-based care. This is something that they need support with. So this is something that we cannot ignore. And then when you talk about transportation, reliable and accessible public transportation, we actually did that in Somerville. Senior-friendly street and sidewalk. Believe it or not, John, one of the things that is so sad that I've seen in the US, not, I mean, I can talk about some of it, but it's just everywhere. When you're a senior and you're a person with disability, you're almost invisible, which is
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is really sad. So our seniors, shouldn't have to choose between paying their property taxes, paying their heating bill, and buying their medication. It's
Thank
it's a lot, for us, to be able to ask and to process that. So we need policies that allow people who have contributed to our communities for decades to remain part of those communities. Because I know sometimes people, some people, oh, well, if you can, maybe you should go live somewhere else. It's easy to say that we're all going to get old, we're all going to be disabled, and we will not, so like the golden rule, like, treat other
you.
people you want to be treated.
Yes, no, I love that. The golden rule. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I just, I just think that a lot of seniors and I understand, things go up, taxes go up, everything else, but I think it's very important for these for seniors to stay. They own a two-family house, a single-family house, whatever it is. There's a lot of them, living at senior centers and a lot of people, I mean, they do a great job. I mean, helping seniors. There are some programs out there, but it's tough. And I think I mean, you answered it well, but I just think I don't think it gets looked at enough, that's all. One of
Yes.
those things. So, um,
We gotta do more for our seniors for
yeah,
sure. Because this is like the time where we all, have to come together and think about like the implication of most of the policies that we are doing, especially now at the state level. People will be depending on us. It's like so
oh,
many
yeah,
programs, that are gonna be phasing away. How do we kind of like make sure that there's funding for like the meals? They don't, their housing situation. This is
right.
like it's a like really like fundamental stuff that will help really build trust, and the seniors can believe back in, their own government. That government is there to help them, support, and also like in the city, I was advocating for senior liaison position in the mayor's office because there's like this council on aging. This is how we use that office to help seniors.
Right, yep,
And then we also work through Mass Senior Action Council. And then some of them had told me, well, we need a senior liaison person, that can really just help us with our tech support, coach, volunteer program, assist with our computer issues. So that is something that, we need to do because if they're asking for something like that, it means that they need help for particular issues, So, but we've really helped with discount for transit fare with that for low income.
right, yep,
Yeah, so we've done that in some of the buses, and then we've piloted like even free bus passes for our seniors, just to
yeah,
ensure that they can also take their taxi to their, for their medication to they can take like we're helping them. There was a grant that we used,
okay.
yeah, to provide transportation, for senior, and then we kind of like remove that grant from ARPA and then put that in the general budget, just so that we can continue to serve our seniors.
Serve it. Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, that's every little bit helps, Will. That's a good program. I heard of that program, by the way. So,
Got you.
yeah, yeah. Hey, Will, I could probably go on for another hour and talk to you. Uh, but unfortunately, we have a 35, 40 minute show, but I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today. It's been a pleasure. And I wish you, and I know you're out there campaigning because a lot of my friends have seen you talk about you. And, hopefully this program, people will get to know you better. But I think, in my personal opinion, you're going to make a great state rep. I wish you continued success. You've been a great counselor, and I think you're going to be a great state rep. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time, Will.
Of course, John. Anytime, John. Thank you. It's I know I'm doing the work because again, I'm the guy from Cameroon. Nothing was handed to me, and I don't take
Yes,
anything for granted.
yes, I know you don't, and
It-
it was great. It
you
was
know,
great to have you on. You did a nice job explaining, who you are, what you believe in, and that's a great thing. So once again, thank you so much.
Thank you,
I'll
John.
be talking to you soon. I'm sure I'll see you around.
Absolutely, John. Anytime. You always, and hopefully, I'll be honored, like to have the opportunity to represent Medford and Somerville, as their next state representative. And I just hope that they will consider, to give me their vote on September 1st and visit my website for details and seeing more, like seeing my track record and also consider, supporting my
You
campaign.
know, the last thing I want to hear from you right now is what is your website? Let's get it out there so people can go check it out.
So my website is Will Will, and then my last name Mbah,
Yep.
M as in man, B as in boy, A as in apple, H as in house, willmbah.com.
Say it one more time, and then we're going to end it. One more time.
Yes, Will Will,
Yep.
and then Mbah, so willmbah.com.
Everyone's got to check it out. And once again, thanks, Will. And
Thank you, John.
I'll see you around the campaign trail.
Thanks.
Thank
God
you. And
bless.
best wishes. Best wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Okay, it's that time. And I want to take a minute to thank everyone who has been watching the show. And thank you for your feedback. If you would like to appear on the show, you can contact us at Medford Happenings 02155@gmail.com, and you will be able to watch replays of this program on Medford Community Media Access Channel. And you can also check out our website, medfordhappenings.com, where you can now either view or listen to the podcast of this program. And you can find all of our shows as usual on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com, search for Medford Happenings. Please like and subscribe to our channel and our videos. You can also find us on Facebook at Medford Happenings. We also have our own subreddit, which you can find us at reddit.com/r/Medford Happenings. That's reddit.com/r/Medford Happenings. So that's about it. Thank you all for watching. And for the Medford Happenings team, Paul, Marco, Bruce, James, Joseph, and me, I'm John Petrella. And remember, Medford, stay informed. Thank you.